My name is Lair Foret, and I'm the CEO of Iron Mountain Technologies. Thank you so much for giving us time today to give you an update and the status on the project. And I usually, as most of us, don't like to give talks or speeches or presentations, but today I'm thankful for it because it lets me remove my mask for just a few minutes. So. Anyway, in the spirit of brevity, a friend of mine said to leave the crowd before they leave you. So I don't think we'll run till 5 o'clock. So we'll try to be as brief as possible. But we want to deliver a lot of information to you guys. Let me get this out of the way. As Mr. Phillips said many times, he's enjoys the reports and the planning, but he wants to see working software, executable software that's up for people to use. That's what's important to him. So let me let the cat out of the bag and go ahead and tell you the good news is we are actually live this week. Of course, it's a limited release, and there's a lot more work left to do, but we are actually live. So Mr. Phillips, there you go. Sorry it was a little bit delayed, but we've at least got the fire started. So, Jeff Talley, our project manager, is going to come up here in a minute, and he's going to give you all the details about what we're releasing, and some other details about the software. So, this is a fairly large and complex project, and there's a lot of organizations involved, including all of you. And so I just want to take a few minutes before Jeff comes up and walks through the software. I want to take a few minutes and just say thank you and acknowledge some of the people and organizations that we're working with. Let's see here. So, of course, first and foremost is ALDOT. And Mr. Phillips, this was as I understand it, this was your vision and initiative for this project to even exist. So thank you so much for that, and congratulations on, of course, your retirement. And I'm sure you already got a good start on that. And although it's really hot, but hard to complain when you're at the beach. So there you go. And of course, Mr. Brad Lindsay, we look forward to working with you under your leadership. And Mr. Randy Stroop, thank you both to you gentlemen. And we really appreciate your support and providing us the people and resources that we need to continue to move forward on this project. And of course, the boots on the ground. Let's not forget them. They have been invaluable to this project. Mr. Casey Rogers, I think he was over there. He is. There you go, Casey. Thank you so much. And of course, Mr. Wiley Brooks and Mr. Tommy Thompson. Thank you guys so much. I know that you guys have an incredibly busy schedule. You have more work than you could possibly do. And we're so thankful that you find time, even in your busy schedule, to make time for us and give us this information that we need to build this system. So thank you for that. And of course, our immediate bosses, who is University of Alabama, Huntsville, Dr. Anderson. I'm not sure where he is. There he is, Dr. Anderson. And of course, Gary Havron. Thank you so much for your continued support, and we appreciate what you do for us on that front. And then Mr. Mike Matusik, is he here today? There you are. Mike, we're looking forward to working with you in the very near future on the invoicing and the ECHO module, which you pointed out in your last meeting in Huntsville. So we're looking forward to working with you. Miss Amanda Hancock, I saw her, there she is, right in the back. Amanda, thank you so much for all that you do in supporting us with the administrative support and, of course, the paperwork. She keeps us organized and on track, and we certainly appreciate working with you. And then, of course, we have our 3 regional managers at UAH. We call them, internally, we call them the superwomen because they give us so much of their time and so much valuable information, especially with the document management piece recently that you guys have described to us and helped us at least build this initial version of it. And how the interagency communication, we realize that's going to be a very important piece of this system, and they've outlined, at least initially, what they envision that system to be, as well as many other the processes and workflows throughout the system. They are invaluable fountain of knowledge there, so I want to thank them. And of course, our cohorts in this project, Strata, and I saw Mr. Edmund around. Is he in the room, or did he? There, Edmund in the back. Thank you guys so much. He's our fearless leader, and of course we have Dorothy George. Dorothy, there she is. Raise your hand. She's an absolute pleasure to work with, and in fact, you'll see a video here in a minute that she created for this conference. So thank you for that, and of course Miss Alfida Acock. She's an incredible source, and she provides insight because she was with the department for over 20 years, as I understand, and so her firsthand knowledge and domain knowledge of this is just, well, we couldn't do it without her. So I want to say thank you to her. And excuse me. And so I mentioned that we went live this week. In fact, it was really last week, but this will be the first week that we expect that they'll be using the system with live data. And we certainly want to thank them for being our guinea pigs, our beta testers. Actually, it's not really beta because it's actual production. It's going to be used in a production manner. So we just want to say thank you to them. Mr. Matthew Brown, I saw you earlier from Baldwin County Commission. I don't know where he is, but saw him earlier. There he is. There you are. Very good. And Ms. Donta Frazier from City of Troy, and Mr. Jared Weed from the Southeastern Alabama Regional Planning Commission. I haven't met you two personally, but I know that Jeff has, and some of our team members have already spoken with you, and we certainly appreciate y'all agreeing to be our initial testers on this thing. And we're looking forward to all the feedback that they're going to give us. And Jeff's going to explain more about our agile methodology, but essentially that means that we're going to work in rapid iterations and rapid releases. We're not going to go off and work for 6 months and then deliver something. We're going to continuously and constantly deliver new versions of the software. So Jeff will be up here in a minute to discuss that. And then a little bit about us. We're Iron Mountain Technologies, and of course I'm Laird Foret, I'm the CEO. Jeff Talley is here. He'll be up next, and he's our project manager. And we have our three fantastic, couldn't do it without them, developers, Reggie Giles and Rick Casey and Derek Wooten. I know you don't know those guys, but you'll meet them over time, and they're our supermen. They're where the rubber meets the road. So they take all of our discovery and all of our meeting notes, and they actually write the code and bring this thing to life. So we want to thank them, and it's a pleasure to be working with them. And of course, Amy Misley, she is our designer, so she gives the look and the feel to the site. She's already working on the second, more polished version now, and we hope to have that out soon. So that's the people. And who are we as a company? Well, we're a Birmingham, Alabama-based development firm. We were founded in 2005, and since then we've worked with federal agencies such as the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. We've worked with the FBI. We've worked for many state and local agencies and municipalities, and we've worked with companies from the smallest startup to Fortune 500. So we're battle hardened, and we're so thankful to be working on this project. So what is our mission? Well, I mean, it's kind of self-evident, but our mission is simply to build a soup to nuts technology platform or system that will enable ALDOT and UAH and all of you, all the agencies to work more efficiently and more effectively. And at the end of the day, our goals are to build a system that we can actually see tangible results to the end customer, which is, of course, the citizens of Alabama. And you'll hear us say a lot that we're excited and we're proud to be working on this project, because we are. We live here. We live in the state. We have our family. We're raising our kids, and our families live here. So it's such a pleasure to be working on a project that we can see and will be able to see tangible results to our fellow citizens. So it's not just words. We are super proud and thankful to be working on this project with all these great people that I just detailed. So here's a little video that Dorothy George put together, and as it plays, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff. Jeff, if you'll come up here in just a minute, and he's going to walk you through the actual software. Thank you.
Thank you for that video, Dorothy. So we like to say that software projects are only about 15% technology, and the other 85% is the people. So as hard as the technology is, and it's very hard, there's a lot of rocket science in there, the majority of what makes a system succeed or fail is the people that use it and how much you interact with those folks. So for us, the most important people in this entire equation are your customers. The people that you're providing transportation for who can't get it any other way. We see that as a very noble endeavor. That's kind of what government services at their best are all about. And we actually talk about that with our developers. We mention it in emails. And that's the why that we get up for in the morning on this project every day. And so I just want you to know that we appreciate what you do. We've visited a lot of agencies. We get it, and we want to feel like that we're a part of providing those services to your customers. So ATOMIC stands for the Alabama Transit Operations and Management Information Center. It will include functionality that not only takes over ATARs and BMMS, but also incorporates a lot of other functionality. There's a very large vision for this system. Eventually, it is going to encompass not only asset management and reporting, quarterly reports and whatnot, but grant management, document management, the TAM plan, interagency communications, invoicing, and mobile apps. There's a very broad vision for this, all the way from the top down all the way into the agencies themselves. Everybody we talk to has a lot of ideas and a lot of things for the entire scope of the system. And the key is integrating all of these all these functions. So the thing that's going to enable that is this centralized database that we've created in the cloud that is going to be the central data store for all of this functionality. So right now, as you know, all the data that you deal with in all of these various areas is scattered in a lot of different systems. And so that data gets entered, multiple times. You have to cut and paste, and you have to re-enter it in here, and it's not the same as it is over there, and you never really know where the right answer is. So the key to the integration of all of this is this centralized database that we've created in the cloud. So the software development industry is it's really interesting as compared to other disciplines. First of all, it's only about 75 years old. So if you think about accounting as a discipline, that's 600 or 700 years old. And if you think about construction, you know, that goes all the way back to the first caveman built a lean-to for his neighbor probably. So all these other disciplines are way more evolved than software development. Software development is really kind of the wild, wild west. So for the first 50 years of software development, they tried to build software the way you build other things, the way you would build a road, for example, or a building, which is natural from a certain point of view. So what they would do is they would get some designers and some architects in a room, and they would, design this thing for months or years, and then they would create a big construction plan, and they would work on that for a while. Then they would go off and hire the programmers like you might hire a road crew, and they'd let them work for a year and a half, and then they would come to the users. And they would say, here's this wonderful, huge, complex system that we built for you. And that approach was just a miserable failure. Every single time, the users looked at it and they said, well, this is not what we need. How did you miss the mark so badly? So the leaders of the industry, at a specific point in time, February 11th through the 13th, 2001, in Utah, 17 thought leaders of the software development industry came together and they said, this is wrong. We got to fix this. What are we doing wrong? And to their credit, they went back to the drawing board and they figured it out. And so they started looking at complexity theory, and they started looking at other disciplines like biology and things like that. And what they discovered is that a software system is more like a living organism. It's not at all like a building or a road. And so when you're building a building or building a road, that project, those things, that responds to Newtonian physics. It's just force and gravity and materials, and you can calculate all that stuff and you can plan it way out in advance. But a software project is what they call a complex adaptive system. It's more like the weather or the economy or an ant colony or a garden. It's more of a living thing. And so what they realized is that just like a vegetable garden doesn't get planted by trucking all of the plants full grown and planted into the garden, software projects can't be done that way either. You have to start with seeds. You have to start with little plants, and you have to put them in strategic places and nurture them and let them grow and evolve into the garden. And you never know, I don't know how many of you have gardened, but you never really know what things you plant are going to do well and what things are not going to do well, and you don't really, from one season to the next, you don't know where the cucumber vines are really going to end up. That's what software is like. So what they said you need to do is you need to get a good overview of the domain of the problem you're trying to solve, but then you need to get down in the weeds with the people, the boots on the ground, the people that actually do the work on a daily basis. And so that's what we've done here. And the other thing is, they said you need to get that software live and in their hands as fast as possible. Don't wait until it's perfect. Get something working that they can actually use in their hands as fast as you can and start getting feedback from them and let them evolve the system to meet their own needs. So that's the approach that we've taken. And the leadership of this project at both ALDOT and at UAH, they've always known this intuitively. They've always said, we want the actual software, we want to see it working. And they have never once tried to get us in a big room for a week-long conference drawing things on a whiteboard that they think you need. And so that's very important. That's what the industry has determined is the key to success. So that's our philosophy, and that's what we've tried to do. Just briefly, there are a handful of roles in the software. There's an ALDOT administrative user. There are regional managers, which I'm sure you're all familiar with that construct at UAH now. And then there are agency managers and agency users, and the primary difference there being that an agency manager can create agency users. And the reason we highlight this is because, again, it's about the people. That's what success in software is about. So at all of these levels, we are working with individuals who, and it's not everybody, and I'm not even sure how the people that we're working with got selected, and we're not saying that they're that they're better than any of the rest of you in the room in terms of giving us feedback, but you have to start somewhere, just like you have to plant the seeds in the plants. And so we're working with folks at all those levels. So we identified 2 areas that we felt like we could go live with immediately and start getting feedback. And those are asset management and document management. We're going to come back to that in a minute. But one of the challenges with going live with software is what you never want to do is you never want to pick some random one day in October and just tell everybody we're going to turn off the old systems and go on the new systems and everybody go out at the same time. What you want to do is you want to try to find pockets that you can go live and let it grow and evolve and take over the old systems that way. And that's hard to do. And so what we're really trying to accomplish is we want to replace ATARs and BMMS as soon as possible. But these are some areas where we can get a foothold even before then, because on the document management side, for example, a lot of the documents are communicated by mail today, so we can put in an electronic document system and not be replacing another system, and we can go live with that. And then on the asset management piece, we've worked real closely with Tommy Thompson to take his data that he's been maintaining for himself in an Access database and make that be the official inventory list. So anyway, these 2 things are really going to be the backbone of the system going forward as well. There are lots of ways for those to start integrating with each other and evolving. We'll go over some of that in a minute. So let's walk through the system itself for just a few minutes. The first thing you see when you log in, and this is very simple. This is very simple and it's very rough because of all the things I talked about before. We wanted to get it into your hands and start getting feedback and not wait until we felt like it was perfect and comprehensive. So first thing you see when you go in is the menu on the left, and the latest documents is a little window that shows you the latest things that have been uploaded, so if you've missed any of those, you can come back and see them. And then when you click on assets, you go into the vehicle inventory and the chairlifts and the facilities. So this is the live system of record for this information now for the first time as of this past week or so. So Tommy Thompson is one of the folks that we've been working with very closely. We've been getting a lot of feedback from him for a long time. We've taken all of his data, we've converted it into the system. He's not going to use his Access program anymore. He's going to use Atomic to maintain this data going forward. And even though these vehicles show up in BMMS and some other places, Tommy's list has always been the official list. So by taking this program that he only had on his computer and making it the basis of Atomic, we're moving in the direction that we want to go. So when you click on vehicle inventory, for example, you get this grid, and all of these columns are sortable and filterable, and this is the list of vehicles that are in your agency. And we're going to be cleaning up the presentation of this a lot. As we evolve the functionality based on your feedback, we're also going to be evolving the look and feel of it. This is a screen for an individual vehicle, and this is where there's actually a lot more fields that go into this. There's a ton of information here about the vehicles. This screen is not beautiful. I don't love this screen. For example, the required fields are the ones that are bold and underlined, and the fields that are not required are a regular font. That's not exactly how that should be presented. What we would probably rather have there is an asterisk or some other way to visually represent that. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it quickly. But we didn't want to wait until we had all those little dots, I's dotted and T's crossed before we get you guys using it, because that's how you miss the boat on the actual functionality. So just an example. And then here's the document repository piece. This piece, we've been working closely with Chandra and these 3 agencies that have been identified. So this is where documents that are mailed from ALDOT to the agencies are going to get uploaded here. And so you can come here and download them anytime. If you lose it in the mail or want another copy, you can come here and download it. And quickly, we're going to be able to allow you to upload your documents up there as well. So getting back to the way this evolves and working with the people on the ground, when we were working with Chandra on the development of this, we've already done a half a dozen or a dozen things just over the last week or so that she asked for, small things to evolve the system in the direction that she wants it to go. And so Chandra and Tommy and Wiley are 3 of the people who are the people in the trenches where the bullets are flying every day that we're working with really, really closely on this system. And the 3 agencies that we've identified, we just got started with them last week, but we're going to get feedback from those folks as well. So what you have is the people at the highest level of abstraction, the leadership at ALDOT and UAH, who have the vision, who are driving this. And then you have this handful of people that we're working with in the trenches to build it the way that they really need it to be. And then we have one person who can traverse those 2 worlds, and that's Casey Rogers at ALDOT. So Casey works in this highest level of abstraction, but he also gets way down into the details with us and understands every little nuance of how the system is working currently. So what you get with that is we will start getting a lot of feedback, and we'll start getting a huge long list of things that people want done in the software. And what we have to do is we have to prioritize those things, and Casey probably will be the one ultimately making the decisions about what the priorities of those tasks are. But by building it that way, we're going to evolve the system to be what you actually need it to be at the agency level, and you'll be driving that functionality. Let me just give you one small example of why it's so important to evolve the system in this way. If you look over on the far right over there, there's a column called document type. So when these documents get uploaded, they are assigned a type. And you will be able to filter your list of documents by the type, and it'll help you find them. So that seems like a simple thing, right? Well, turns out that's incredibly complex and nuanced. So at UAH, they have a long list of document types that they currently use, but a lot of those document types are just for them internally. And so when we started talking to Chandra about what the list of document types should be, we came up with applications, correspondence, disposal, and invoice. She said those are the 4 types that we want to start with. So right off the bat, if we had built this system in a vacuum with people at the highest levels, we would have ended up with 50 document types the day we went live. And none of you would know what you're looking for or what you're looking at. So here, we're starting with 4, and we're going to evolve it from that point forward. So if you take that one little thing of the list of document types and you extrapolate that over all the complexity of this entire system, you begin to see how you need to build it from the ground up and you don't need to build it from the top down. Another great example about this is Ms. Alfida was uploading some of these documents for us with Strata. She was uploading some of these documents, and she has all this history with the agencies and everything. And I told her, these are the only 4 document types that we want. This is what Chandra wants. Well, Ms. Alfida, I know a lot of you know her, she's a 12-gauge shotgun, so she decides on her own that she wants another type, this agreements type. And I said, no, we can't do that. Well, it turns out Chandra really liked that, and so now we have 5 types in there. Now, you kind of have to be a nerd to appreciate this, and I get that. But the point I'm trying to make is that by taking this approach, we're going to give you a system that actually works for you, that you can actually use to help your customers which is what we're all about. So at this point, I would like to take a minute and ask Matthew Brown to come up here and share his thoughts with us, because Matthew, he is doing a lot of innovative technical implementations of software at Baldwin County. Sorry. So anyway, he understands this approach, this incremental approach that we've been talking about, and so I wanted to give him a few minutes to talk about that as well.
Well, thank you, Jeff, and welcome everybody to Baldwin County. I've got to give a little disclaimer here. I did not even know who Jeff and Laird were a week ago, so this is not like some type of prearranged thing. They reached out, and it may have actually, I think it was Chandra who actually reached out and asked if we would be willing to be part of the test case with this, and we said, sure, absolutely. We love the fact that ALDOT is pursuing some of these options. And the morning before the meeting, which was that this past Monday? I guess it was this past Monday morning. The folks in my office get tired of me saying over and over again, we want to prioritize action over planning, prioritize action over planning. That doesn't mean don't plan. It just means that if you plan too much, you'll actually miss the boat on the action. And so it's kind of this iterative process where we set out a plan, we start acting, and then we start to tinker with it. And someone came into my office right before this meeting with them, and I said, you know what, I really hope we're not going to get a meeting and they're going to say, we've spent 2 years developing this software, and I'm going to look at it and say, this is useless, or this does not meet our needs. And we got into the meeting, and they were like, now this is really bare bones, almost like apologetic, because I think maybe they expect a lot of us to expect this to be the final product. And I said the action over planning I said, we prioritize action over planning. They were both like, yes, that's what we want to hear. And I just was very appreciative to them that they're not bringing us a final product. They're bringing us a product that we can help build, that we can say, here's what we really need on this, instead of bringing us something that appears to be 100% and it just doesn't meet our needs as transit entities. So I just had to encourage all of you as my colleagues to really engage in this process. Let's be engaged in this and create something that's really beneficial to us here in Alabama. So I appreciate the work they're doing on this.
Thank you. Your gift card will be in the mail. We appreciate that. So let's talk about how this can evolve. So Chandra started talking about, this is one of the difficulties in developing software. Once you engage users, they have lots of ideas, and that's a wonderful thing. And you never know as a user, when you ask us for something, you don't know if that's something that's simple to do or something that's going to take forever. And I would encourage you, not just with us, but anybody you're dealing with in software, ask for everything, because a lot of times what you think is going to take forever, the programmers can do in 10 minutes. But the flip side is also true. Something that you think they should be able to do in 10 minutes seems like they can never do. But this is a great example of vehicle disposal where Chandra said, what we really needed to do is this. And what I'm going to describe here is just one example of how this document repository and this asset management list can come together to start evolving into the type of system that you really want. So what we want to be able to do is select a vehicle for disposal, select a vehicle from your vehicle list, and then tell the system the date that you expect to dispose of that vehicle. Then ALDOT gets a notification, and they approve the disposal. Tommy, I guess, approves the disposal. Then you as an agency, you go and you auction that vehicle, and then you come back and you upload your documents. So there's a great example, and certificate of insurance is another example, and there are others. These are the kinds of things that we're going to be able to start doing pretty quickly once we get you folks using the document management repository and the vehicle list. And that's how we evolve systems successfully. What was I want to say? Oh, then you get a reminder if you haven't uploaded your disposal documents in time. So just with the functionality that we have now, that'll be a fairly straightforward thing for us to add. But then the next step after that is we just start prompting you for this data that you would normally put in these documents that you're uploading, and then we eliminate the document upload altogether. So you can see how that steps into the system becoming what you really need it to be. I think that's it. My notes say Laird comes back now. So we're just to wrap up a couple things. We're going to be here. Ask us any questions that you want to ask us. We are going to build this system to meet the vision that ALDOT and UAH have set out, and it's going to be the system that you need it to be. And again, you know, it's all about people. It's about you people, and it's about the people that you're serving, and we feel like that we're part of that, and we want to see it that way.
Gotcha. Well, really, that's it, guys. I know we were scheduled to go to 5, but we wanted to be brief and give you the information as quickly as possible. And we're looking forward to everyone's participation. And thank you for giving us time to share this with you today.